Okay, so welcome to the tarot reading for May 2025. And I have a spread for you for this month, which is 8 positions, and I feel that they're very relevant. Maybe you will too. So for this month of May, we've got 4 kind of communal or community positions about how we work together in community, which is more important now than it ever feels more important now than it ever has been in my lifetime. And another 4 underneath, which are more about our kind of individual processes. Of course, everything is interconnected, and so what we do in community and what we do within ourselves is all connected. It's all connected. So everything we do is important. It matters for us and for those around us. To start the reading then, so the first 4 positions are all inspired by kind of significant dates in May. So the first is that we've just had May Day, the sort of International Workers' Solidarity Day. And so the position for this I've called power. This is about how we work together to claim our power, how we use our power to empower those who are more marginalised than we are, ourselves, and how we claim power as ordinary people collectively together. So that's this position here. It's one for the activists amongst us. The next position, I've drawn a little flower on the board. I'm going to explain my diagrams, both because I'm not a good visual artist, but also in case anyone who is listening who isn't sighted as well. So I've drawn a little flower, and that represents Beltane, which we've just had as well, and it's a festival of fertility. It's a celebration of the spring coming in. I'm based in the UK, and here we do have kind of spring coming in. We actually had a real strong heat wave last week, and so it's a kind of celebration of that, and the position represents celebration in community, and the things which are starting to blossom right now. The next position, it's International Tarot Day this month on I believe the 21st of May. So we have to celebrate International Tarot Day, don't we? And so I've drawn a magic wand here to represent that. And this position is just the magic, what magic is available to us this month, because tarot, of course, is a way of connecting in with magic. And then the 4th position here, so in a few days it's going to be VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, which commemorates the end of the Second World War in Europe. I have mixed feelings about the commemorations. They tend to be very draped in bunting and nationalism where I'm from, which I don't necessarily subscribe to. However, I think the most important message from this is that we all crave peace, right? We all want peace. For ourselves, for other people who we might never meet. We want peace in the world, and it's a natural human instinct to want peace. I know that there are humans behaving in atrocious ways, but I still believe that when we are when we are healthy and when we are in our natural states, peace is one of our natural states. And so this is how can we invite in peace in this position here. So those are those 4 cards for our collective, how we work together. And then there's another 4 positions that may be more about sort of personal process. Again, all connected, all interconnected. So we'll bear that in mind. So I mentioned that we had a heat wave here in the UK last week. The sun came out. Now, if anyone knows the north of England, where I'm from, where I am, we don't always see the sun, and we can go for quite a long time without seeing the sun. And so when it comes out, it's a gift. It feels like a gift. Everything feels that little bit better. Everything feels that little bit easier. You know, even your muscles relax. You know, it's cold. Your muscles are contracted against the cold. In the warm, with the sun out, your muscles can relax a bit. And so that position here in this week's reading is what is shining on us like the sun, what is making everything just a little bit easier for us this week. And those of you who know me and know my setup may have noticed that I'm in a different place than usual today. I'm in a holiday caravan on the North Sea. So I was inspired by this to create this position of the caravan, and what the caravan represents is it's a safe space. In amongst all of this other stuff, we've got the sun. We've got the sun next to it, direct celebration directly above it. Some more sort of nature positions coming up. So what the caravan represents is a safe space. For me, it's a hermit space. We're in a hermit year this year, 2025, and so the hermit is with us. The hermit invites us to go inside, to do some of that sort of internal process, to get in touch with what moves us, what we are connected with spiritually, and to have a space for that. So the caravan's your safe space this week. The next position is the wind, and the wind represents the wild. So as I sort of lay here last night, I could hear this wind howling around the caravan. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the microphone, but I can hear the sea from here as well. And so it's been really, really windy. It's the North Sea, so those who know the area will sort of know that it can get very windy. There's like strong north wind tearing down, and being very vocal, you know, making all these sounds. And so, you know, here was I within this safe space, and yet very, very much in touch and aware of the sound of the wind. I think it's just given us a little song there, actually, as I was describing it. Very, very much aware of the sound of the wind and the wildness. So this is our wildness this week. And then finally we've got the sea. And this is our reminder that everything is magical. So as I mentioned, I can hear the sea right now. I can see it if I look out the window. And there is something about watching those big waves come in. As you know, I was in Portugal for a long time. I got to know the Atlantic Ocean really well, and the North Sea is a very different sea to that. But it's just as majestic, it's just as wild. And so, magical. There is, that's the only word I know to describe it. So you know, what is bringing us to our awareness of the majesty and magic of life this week. So we've actually got magic in there twice, but in slightly different ways, and I'm sure they all reinforce each other. So that is our spread for the week. Not the week, for the month, sorry, it's for May 2025. And let's go ahead and pull some cards. So I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath, go inside, and just ask to receive what you need. I'm going to pull some cards. I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot today, which is by Lisa Sterle, and it's a modern updated version of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So it's actually one that I recommend as a good learning deck if you're taking one of my tarot courses. It's a nice one because it is so it's so close, so true to the Rider-Waite-Smith, and yet just has that little bit more diversity in there, which is important. So, taking a deep breath and just asking to receive what you need. And our first position then is power. How do we collectively claim power? how do we invite in that power? And as I say, this one is particularly for the activists, and activism can look very different for different people at different times and in different places. And the card that we get is the Eight of Pentacles. So I think first and foremost, I'm going to hide behind the card because I think my camera otherwise will try and focus on my face. So the Eight of Pentacles. So the Pentacles is the suit of earth, and as such can be very a little bit slow sometimes, can feel slow. Earth's a slow element. You know, water, you can see it running. Earth moves too, but we don't always get to see it. Sometimes we do, and it's huge, but often it's moving very, very slowly. Rocks are growing at a pace which is far, far different to our small human pace. So this is a slow suit. And the Eight of Pentacles is about going slowly. It's about consistent, daily showing up, that consistent work. What we've got here is a creator creating pentacles. They are using a tablet and pen sort of graphic design set up to create pentacles. They've got one that they've just perhaps printed out, another one on the screen in front of them. They're in the act of creating, and another 6 kind of displayed in front of them. So this is about creativity, but slowness. That it's consistency. It's showing up day after day. So in terms of claiming our power, our collective power, it is a reminder that everything that we do can make a difference, especially when we work together. Yeah, you know, everyone doing one small thing is more powerful than one person doing a very big thing, or can be. But also about showing up every day. So in terms of claiming power, that's about connecting to our values. And I hope I speak for everyone here in saying that, you know, here we have values of compassion and of fairness. So showing up in those values, and being there consistently. So remembering every day what's important, that's another thing that can happen with this Eight of Pentacles. So, you know, in the morning, waking up, what is important in terms of power balances, and how we act to care for ourselves, each other, and the world that we live in, and showing up in some way that day, even if it's not something huge. So I think for us as well, like, I know there are a lot of activists who listen to these readings who are part of this community, and I know that one thing is that, you know, it takes so much time and energy, and so this for you in particular, for those people, this is a reminder that what you're doing is making a difference, and to structure the way you act in such a way that it supports you to be able to show up consistently and long term, rather than sort of throwing everything in at once. So you know, here we are, we're here for the long haul, but it's okay because we're all showing up together. Celebration then, what do we celebrate in community this month? So this position was based on Beltane, so it's about celebration, but also, you know, what's starting to bloom, what do we see that might be coming, what's becoming fertile now. And so we've got the Seven of Swords. This is an interesting card to come up here. So we've got a person carrying 5 swords over their shoulders, and they are kind of looking over one shoulder, another 2 swords in the ground behind them. They're walking away from a dwelling, a house, or a block of flats. Now this card traditionally and on a surface level is often seen as a card of kind of secrets, of not being fully transparent perhaps, but I feel like that's an outdated interpretation. I feel like it's not particularly a nuanced interpretation. And so for this card, I like to see it sometimes about being strong in our power for knowing what our reasons are. So the swords are the element of air, they're the suit of mind. So there are thoughts and narratives and beliefs. So it can be about not having to explain our process to everyone, you know, like everything that you do, you don't have to go, well, here are all the swords, here are all the thoughts, narratives and beliefs that led to this. You don't have to justify yourself, you don't have to keep justifying yourself. And so in this card then, what I see is like doing things that are important to you because they're important to you. And we can celebrate that, you know, we can celebrate that confidence that comes with that. There's also as well, there may be some kind of reclaiming going on in this card, this taking of those swords which had been stuck in the ground. And this might be about reclaiming beliefs. So some of us might have a little bit of a belief shake-up this month and just be able to like just take some of them away, not really have to explain it to anyone or to everyone. Just take some of those beliefs away, take some of those thoughts away, some of those narratives, and decide whether they're of value to you or not. So our next position then is the magic. What ways do we have to connect together to the magic this month? And this is interesting, it's the 10 of Wands. So we've had 3 different minor arcana suits come up already in the first 3 cards. I always think at about this point in the reading it's good to start noticing that. Is there any pattern between the cards? And what we've got is so far a fairly even distribution of energy. So the Wands is about fire, passion, creativity, and it's also the 10 of Wands. You can see here, this is something that has become a burden. So this person's carrying 10 Wands. Now they're carrying them in a way, like the Wands are far too big for them, or they're far too many for them. But they're carrying them in the direction of their community. You can see there's houses in the background. So it feels like these ones are responsibilities that this person has taken on, perhaps for themselves, but also perhaps for other people, part of their community, which is right. You know, we all take on responsibilities as part of the communities that we live in. And I have seen lots of people, and I've done it myself, you know, decide that I have to take on all these responsibilities because if I don't, who else is going to do it? And it's important that they get done. Or getting trapped with all these wands that are just too many wands. With this coming up in this position of, you know, what's the magic? What are the ways to connect to the magic? Well, firstly, with the 10 of Wands, is that there's an exercise that I give. If you've listened to my daily tarot ritual course, if you've listened to the 10 of Wands track on that, you'll have heard this exercise, a journaling exercise, where I invite you to write down 10 wands. So these are 10 responsibilities or commitments that you are currently carrying. And then with each one, just revisit, you know, why is it important? Is it still relevant? Is there anyone else who could carry some of it? Because what this does is it uncovers information that some things are more important to us than others, that some things we've outgrown, but somehow we just forgot to put them down. We're still carrying them. That some things we can have help carrying, or we can offer to other people, or, you know, they might not even be ours. We might have been helping someone else carry it, but we didn't say we'd carry it forever. So, you know, we can give them back. And some things really are worth carrying. Some of those ones are so important that, yeah, it's okay if they're a bit heavy, because those ones are important. And so that part of the exercise helps us to remember, like, what's important and why. And that is one really, really sort of powerful way to reconnect with the magic of why you're carrying these wands. I think also, though, with this card coming out here, the 10 is the final number in the suit, in all the minor arcana suits. They're numbered 1 to 10, and then you've got 4 court cards. So the 10 is the final number, and it often denotes the end of a cycle. So it may be that there is some magic available to us this month through putting some of those ones down, taking them to where they're meant to be, some kind of celebration and completion. So for anyone who is, towards the end of a project and you're nearly there, but you're not quite, like this person in the card can, they're in sight of that community they're bringing the wands to, but they've still got to carry them that last little bit. This is an encouragement that actually that's a magical part of the cycle as well, and enjoy it, because you do get to put some of the ones down very soon. Our 4th position then is peace. How can we collectively work towards peace? And this is, well, it's just so important, isn't it? I don't need to explain it to anybody. So how do we do that? Or how can we do that? Of course, there is more than one way, always. And it's another Wands card. It's the 2 of Wands. So here you have someone who's standing very, very upright, quite sort of fancily dressed, smart trousers, earrings, nice shirt, head wrap, shoes, and standing very, very upright between 2 wands on a balcony. And the balcony overlooks a shore, so you've got kind of mountains with a city behind, and then you've got the sea as well, and the person's looking as if out to sea, and they have I think it's a mobile phone in their hand as well. So as I say, this is a much more modern version of the Rider-Waite-Smith. You don't see any mobile phones in that. But I like the addition of it, because, what does our mobile phone give us? Now, there are many answers to that. I would like to use mine less than I do. I'm sure lots of people on here do as well. But, many of you are joining this session through your mobile phone. You have access to this session and to all of the resources here through your mobile phone. Many of us have learned things and are able to discover knowledge and are able to communicate with our phones in ways that we just couldn't in the 90s. And before that. So there is a useful tool. It's a useful tool, and it's always interesting when they do show up in a tarot card. Now, the 2 of Wands is a card of looking to the future. So it's a hopeful card. It's a card about planning. It's a card about deciding, what is the kind of world that we want, and in this context of peace, what is a way that we can help to bring about peace and help to bring about more peace? That it really is an important question, isn't it? What does the world look like with peace? What's the world that we want, the peaceful world that we want? So this is your invitation to really consider that. If we had world peace tomorrow, what would that be like? What would that be like in your life, in the life of those around you? What would it mean for the world? So we have a chance to envision a future that we can create. And with the 2 of Wands, it's like sometimes it's like the person who's looking out in that 2 of Wands has sent a ship out, and they're just waiting for that ship to come in. They may be waiting a long time, but they are waiting for it. They are hopeful. They believe that ship is going to come in. And I think that's really important for us in this context of peace, that we believe that peace is possible. Now, I don't know if there's ever been a day where there hasn't been some conflict going on somewhere in the globe. But it is really important to believe that it can be different, because if not, then we can't even create that possibility. So how do we create a peaceful world. We imagine it. We imagine what it might be like. And you know what? When we start to imagine things, we start to create them as well. So that, you know, that can be something that you do along with other things, other actions that you might be taking towards peace. But you know, at least include this. Make sure to remember to bring in the energy of peace. Invite in the energy of peace, and one's is energetic work as well. You know, allow that energy to be, nurture it, tend to it. And it is a 2, it's early on in the sequence, so you know, it does need some nurturing. It needs our energy. We need to put our energy into it. There are lots and lots of different ways to do that. One resource I can offer you is in my Reiki Through Space and Time course. We do have a shared practice towards peace. So connecting with it, being connected in with the energy of it, it's surprising and magical how much we can do by imagining, by creating energetically as well, whilst taking other actions out in the world, of course, where we can. So those are our 4 sort of collective communal cards of, you know, what can we do together? And there is this nice, but there aren't any cups. I think that's okay though. I think this is the right balance, to remind us, you know, that practicality, showing up, consistency, being aware, if nothing else, of our narratives and beliefs, and acting to change them if that's appropriate, while at the same time not needing to always keep justifying ourselves. You know, we're not looking over our shoulders like this person in the card. Not everyone has the right to that information about why we're doing what we're doing. The magic is, you know, something might be completed this month. There might be an opportunity to put something that you're carrying down, and it may be that you bring resources to your village as well. And then just being able to imagine, to create, to call in the energy of peace. Sunshine now then. What sunshine is shining on us? What sunshine is available to us? What is here with us to make things just that little bit easier? Just a little bit easier, even if they're not completely easy yet. And look at this, the Fool. So this is our first major arcana card of the reading. And the Fool is the number 0. So for the last 100 or so years has been positioned at the beginning of the major arcana in the deck, but actually can appear at any point during the journey through the tarot, major or minor arcana. The Fool is the seeker who journeys through the tarot. And with sunshine was our position. We have got a sun there shining on the Fool, who is dressed in kind of, I'm going to say, flamboyant clothing. Looks great, looks really comfortable, taking up space. And they're about to step, or look like they're about to step off a cliff. There's a little dog barking at their heels, and the Fool has a little backpack, just a few of the things that they need, and a Walkman with headphones going to their ears. So the Fool represents trust and faith, to start with, that we don't know whether the Fool knows what's beyond that cliff. And we don't know from the image in the card if that cliff is like 6 inches tall or 6 miles tall. We just don't know. So the Fool has to trust that the next step that they take will be okay. And they might fall off the cliff. And they have to trust that that fall will be okay. Anyway, it's a trust fall, right? So we're invited into the element of trust. So perhaps if there's something happening this month that you're not quite sure what it is, perhaps you can try on this state of trust that the Fool has, of I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to trust that it's going to be okay. And maybe even diving into something that's new and exciting. And this foolishness, this kind of ability to trust the process, it will make everything a little bit easier, like that sunshine. You know, it shines on us. And this is an archetype of absolute freedom as well, because the thing about the Fool, if you think about the jester archetype, which the Fool sometimes represents, and certainly in those sort of medieval tarots, the jester at the court would be the one who could say the things that nobody else could say. So, you know, what can you say that no one else can say? What possibilities does that open? And how can we approach life with humour as well? The jesters are about humour. So, you know, that sunshine, this position of sunshine, of like letting in something that just makes things a bit easier. You know, the humour of jesting can really make things easier and can sometimes help us to sort of find ways through. So I invite you this month to be open to that state of trust, of new things, of not needing to know the outcome before taking an action, but also to be in good humour as you wander through the month with your headphones in. So the other thing about the Fool is that they are listening to I said it was a Walkman. I think it might be a mobile phone as well, or an I was going to say an iPod. I don't know if they still have those either, but they're listening to the music that they want to listen to. So, you know, here we had the Seven of Swords. It's kind of like, oh, well, I'm just going to take some of those beliefs, and I don't have to show them to everybody. The Fool is maybe even listening to something that is meaningful to them. So this could be you sat there listening to your meditations and your affirmations and your tarot readings and your courses with your headphones in, or wandering along in your life, listening to the things that are meaningful to you and that are useful to you, or that you don't even know if they're useful to you, but you're just going to try them because you were open to the Fool energy this month. Our next position then is the Caravan. So this is a safe space, possibly a transformative space in which and from which to experience all the other energies that are around. So this is what's going to ground you as these other energies are around. This is what you can come back to, and where you can allow yourself to be. And we have the Queen of Cups. So it's our first Cups card for the reading. Now, I mentioned earlier, I can hear the sea even while doing this reading. So I love that this Queen of Cups is on the shore. Well, the Queen of Cups is typically on the shore. So this Queen is sitting in a throne that's shaped a bit like a big shell. And she's wearing this lovely gown of like, it's kind of watery colours. I don't know if it's maybe the colour of water, a bit transparent, bit sort of greeny blue. And it flows into the waves which are lapping at her feet, lapping at the shore. The throne is on the shore. And she's holding a cup in front of her. And she's kind of looking at it. She's kind of reverent. So with the Queen of Cups, this is all about your heart, your emotions, what's inside you. And I think in the context of this reading and the other cards that have come up and the other positions that have come up, this is about showing up in love, giving and receiving love, but also being in a state of connection with your own heart. So sometimes when we're the Queen of Cups, what's in the cup is delicious. And sometimes when we're the Queen of Cups, you know, maybe one of these waves has kind of landed and maybe put some salt water in the cup, and we really don't like the taste of that, and it's not good for us. But it's still our cup. So how we treat our cup, how we treat our heart, and that part of ourselves that experiences emotions, needs to be as this Queen of Cups does. She loves that cup, even if it's full of something that's not palatable to her, but especially when it's full of something that's really delicious. So there's a recognition here of changeability in emotions as well. They can ebb and flow like the tides, can't they? With the Queen of Cups as well, you know, there's a reminder that sometimes the way we feel can be connected to our hormones. Everybody of all genders has hormones and hormonal cycles, and they really do affect everything that we feel. So there's that awareness as well. And I think with this being in the caravan, in this safe space, in this space of transformation, on the shore, this is an invitation to really tend to our cups. So we know what serves us well emotionally. Now I'm going to generalize and say that for most people it's going to be something like getting enough sleep, eating well, not overgiving, having the right amount of contact, sort of social contact, feeling centered. So there are things that we can do to make that shore a peaceful shore, one that it's comfortable to sit in that throne on. And so this is an invitation to make that your space this month, the space that you come back to. So it's being in your heart, it's loving, it's accessing a state of love, of compassion, being open to receiving love, honouring your own emotions, because this is another thing that can happen with the cups, is that sometimes, you know, we go, oh, don't like what's in that cup, pretend it's not there. It is there. And so there's never any reason to shame ourselves for anything that we feel. It's always valid. Always valid. Sometimes we have to be careful about our expression of those feelings. You know, our emotions may be valid, but they also may not be something that we want to spill on other people. But just honouring that whatever's there in that cup is a really, really powerful way to ground yourself and keep yourself safe this month. And then we have the wind, the wildness, this strong, powerful force that sort of travels, you know, the same air that was howling around here last night, wherever you are in the world, could well have made its way to you by now. So it connects us as well, but it's this wildness that's with us always, and that we can choose to consciously be in touch with. So how can we experience wildness this month? And this is interesting. So this is the 9 of Wands, and you'll see here on the board it's going to be positioned directly under that 10 of Wands. So it might just be as simple as, you know, too much wildness is going to be a bit too much. Make sure you're in that caravan, make sure you go into that space of the Queen of Cups and tending to your cup, even as you respond to what's sort of howling around you. The 9 of Wands, so we've got a person standing, they're kind of leaning on a wand, which is a big staff. It's taller than them, it's got some growth. There are another 8 wands kind of stuck into the ground behind them, and this person's dressed in kind of sports clothing, like they might have been training. They've got a bandage around their head. So this is someone who has been perhaps in the wars, or who has had to stand for something. That might be about standing up for themselves, defending themselves. In this sort of second row, this might be about keeping your personal boundaries. So I'm reading that as a caution, actually, that, you know, this wind can be loud and exciting, and it can come to you, you know, even as you're in your sort of quiet space. But don't allow it to blow you away. Make sure you know where you're standing and why. And it's another energetic card. We've got 3 wands cards there so this is always about kind of energy work. So this can be any kind of energy practices can help us with this. So yes, we can have wildness this month, but let's be boundaried about it, is what this card is saying, I think. And if you look, the person in this card is looking back towards that Queen of Cups, and the Fool beyond. So I think with these 3 cards, the Queen of Cups in the middle is grounding us there into going, yes, let's be open, let's try things. Let's have some boundaries as well before we kind of get blown away, get blown over. And stay in the central position, tend to your cup. Be really aware of how you are responding to those things that are going on around. And then finally, the sea. So, what is our reminder this month? That the universe really is a magical place. Got the Ace of Wands. So, lots of wands in here in the end. I like the Ace of Wands. It's an invitation. You're magical. Here's your magic wand. What are you going to do with it? So, you really can do or be anything that you wish. It's about where you direct your energy. The wand in magical traditions. It's not the wand itself that does the magic, although they can be imbued with magic and they do have their own spirits. But it's how we use the wand to direct our own energy, which is everything. And so you will have the month that you program yourself for, is almost what it's saying there. So it's an invitation to put our energy in the directions that we want to go in. And I really like it there with those other ones in the readings. We've got those sort of 9 and 10, which are a little bit uncomfortable. And it's that reminder that we can direct our energy in the way we want. We don't have to be just taking on energy that we're given. We don't just have to be responding to energy that is out there. We can direct our own energy, and it's right underneath that 2 of Wands for peace. So, we can direct our energy very powerfully, and we can create and envision the world that we want. So that's our reading for the month of May. Thank you very much for joining me.